Beautiful Seattle, Washington, as we come to you tonight from baseball's crown jewel, the Pacific Northwest. T-Mobile Park and Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV Plus, presented by Chevrolet, brings us the Seattle Mariners against the Chicago Cubs, led in by former MVP Cody Bellinger. While the Mariners have their own future MVP, perhaps, in center fielder Julio Rodriguez. Looking inside at T-Mobile Park, one of the great camera angles in all of baseball along the left field line here in Seattle. We bring you inside the booth alongside Dontrell Willis. I'm Wayne Randazzo, and Dontrell, two teams here, the Cubs and the Mariners, that came awfully close to the postseason last year.
Well, they feel like they should get in the postseason this year. Both ball clubs have a lot of talent on both sides. Should be a fun one tonight.
Now, the Mariners, of course, led by Julio Rodriguez, who had a 30-30 year offensively last year. He was fourth in MVP voting in the American League, and he's hoping to put the Mariners on his back this year.
Well, when he goes, they go. I mean, he's absolutely outstanding. He has the speed, he has the power, line-to-line power. He's no petit filet, Wayne. This is a big man, and he knows when they score, he has to be in the center of it. But I love the intangible with his legs. He can impact it every time he gets on base. He's a base stealer, and he's very aggressive. But the one thing I love about his game, Wayne, defensively. Listen, Ken Griffey Jr. would love to see him stay healthy out there because he can run it down, especially in this huge outfield. He has to be key, especially for his talented rotation as well as his bullpen. But he has to factor. When he goes, they go.
No, he's been a Gold Glove finalist. He's won 2 Silver Sluggers already. And as the new face of the franchise, the way he compares to the all-time great center fielder of the Mariners, Ken Griffey Jr.
Listen, he has to be impactful. There's a lot of talent in the AL West, but he's the centerpiece of it. He's going to win an MVP in his future. I guarantee it.
Now, Julio Rodriguez coming off a great season, hoping to have another this year. Meanwhile, the Cubs center fielder had a pretty good year last year, too. Cody Bellinger returned to form in Chicago.
Well, he bet on himself, and he's a close friend of mine. He said, Trey, I just wanted to play, relax, and get my foot down. In his first couple of years, he wins a Rookie of the Year and an MVP, and he has the world in his hand. But then all of a sudden, he starts to struggle, and he gets in between pitches, and you see those awkward swings. And honestly, he just wanted to take a deep breath and get out of Los Angeles. Bets on himself and gets in a Cubs uniform and gets his foot down and is a 20-20 guy for them and is a centerpiece for their offense. If they want to win the Central, he has to stay healthy and get his foot down with the best of them.
And he returned to the Cubs on a fairly player-friendly contract in that he can get out of it if he continues to put up the MVP numbers like he did last year.
He doesn't want to get out with it. He's a golfing buddy of mine. He loves hitting at Wrigley Field, and you know that wind blows out, so he's going to definitely put up some numbers in that Cubs uniform, Wayne.
Well, the Cubs have been hitting in general so far to begin this season. A very good offensive ball club through the first couple of weeks of the year. And for more on the Cubs' high-powered offense to start the season, we send it down to the third member of our crew, Heidi Watney.
Yeah, Wayne, these Cubbies are hot in the early going, ranking top 3 in MLB in runs per game, on-base percentage, and exit velocity. And it's not just one guy getting it done. It's up and down the lineup. I asked Craig Counsell how these guys are so hot. He said this is really our offense performing at its best right now. Everyone is clicking, and he said that doesn't always happen this early in the year. Now, the guys you expect to hit are doing their job, but Christopher Morel has been just a beast this season. The team is working with him to be their everyday third baseman. Defensively, they're still working on it, but Counsell said when he's in the lineup at third, it really opens up that DH spot and lengthens the lineup. He said the lineup is at their best offensively when he's playing third base. They're going to give him a long look there. He said another nice surprise has been Michael Busch at first base. He lengthens the lineup when he's performing offensively like he's been. Hey, it's good to be a Cubbies fan right now. We'll see if Bryce Miller can tame this Cubs lineup here tonight in Seattle. We'll be right back from T-Mobile Park. Lineups and first pitch after this quick break.
Driven on a line, Griffey dives! What a catch by Griffey! Julio! Julio!
What a drag, leaps high in the air, and he's got it! An incredible catch by the kid! And that ball is melted! That may be in the upper deck!
Swung on and destroyed! Welcome back to Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV Plus, presented by Chevrolet. I'm Wayne Randazzo with Dontrell Willis and Heidi Watney. We're in Seattle, and it's Julio's town now. After the great Ken Griffey Jr. dazzled Mariner fans for many years here in Seattle, it's J-Rod's turn, and Julio Rodriguez taking the field, leading the Mariners here at T-Mobile Park tonight.
Rightfully so, Wayne. He's one of the talented stars in the future of the league. And listen, man, I just stand next to him, man, because he is not a small individual, but it should be fun to watch. We got a good one tonight, Wayne.
Well, he's the future and the present, the 23-year-old, fourth in MVP voting in the American League last year. We bring you the Cubs lineup brought to you by BetMGM. Ian Happ has been productive in the leadoff spot for Chicago. Suzuki, Bellinger, Morel, they've all swung the bats well for the most part. Dansby Swanson in the 5-hole for the Chicago Cubs tonight against a pretty good right-handed pitcher, guy who is developing right before our eyes in Bryce Miller.
Absolutely. He was outstanding against the Milwaukee Brewers the last time out, going 7 scoreless and just giving up 3 hits and 7 Ks. So expect a high volume of fastball and that nasty split finger, but sure got a good matchup.
We take a look at Miller's arsenal as StatCast is powered by Google Cloud. He's mixed in the sinker more this year to go with his four-seam, taking some pressure off the four-seam fastball, but that splitter has become a real go-to pitch in the early stages of that being a go-to for him.
Well, he understands. He has to change eye level, and the four-seam fastball rides, but at the same time, you have to use that sinker to induce contact on the ground. They have a talented athletic defense, and if you're more efficient, you can go deeper in the ball game.
Well, the roof is open. It is a clear evening. But don't let that fool you. It is cold here in Seattle. The wind has been whipping through this ballpark all afternoon into the evening, so it's chilly. The Cubs might feel at home for it being the middle of April, but certainly fans are bundled up here tonight for the Cubs and the Mariners. Again, two teams that were oh so close to the postseason last year, just a game or two out, as Bryce Miller's first pitch to Ian Happ is hit high in the air and shallow in right field as Mitch Haniger, back with the Mariners, makes the catch.
Nice to see Mitch back in the Seattle Mariners uniform. Got some MVP votes in his past, an all-star here, and they brought him back to be more of a leader and a captain in the locker room. He's done a good job of that thus far.
So the Mariners defensively with a Gold Glove winner at short. J.P. Crawford has won a couple of them there. And Haniger in right field, back with Seattle after just a brief respite with the San Francisco Giants. And here's Seiya Suzuki batting with 1 out, nobody on.
Oh, it's down.
Suzuki has been hammering the baseball dating back to last August. He has really turned into one of the premier hitters right now in the National League, and he's off to a good start to this season.
Outside.
Cubs plucked Suzuki out of Japan, gave him a 5-year deal, and he has started to turn into the player that they envisioned.
As you can see by the stats, hitting .344 since August 8th, and he just looks more comfortable out in the field and at the plate, and has a better understanding of how pitchers are going to attack him.
Good cut on that pitch. 2 balls and a strike. The Cubs offense has been clicking, averaging roughly 6 runs a game. A .353 team on base percentage. That's the 3rd best in the majors. Their runs scored per game, 2nd best entering today. Surprisingly, the Brewers are right behind the Cubs at 3rd, and Milwaukee's put up a 10 spot tonight. And Suzuki fouls that, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. There's Craig Counsell, the new manager of the Cubs, coming down from Milwaukee, where he managed the most games and won the most games in Brewers history.
In 9 seasons in Milwaukee, they made the postseason 5 times, and they're hoping that magic rubs off in the Cubs uniform, and so seems already poised and has a good understanding of his ball club thus far.
Suzuki lifts a pop fly near second base, and it's the shortstop Crawford who makes the catch.
Got a chance to talk to my man Carl during BP, and always has a smile on his face, always has good energy, and the Mariners want to get to the postseason. He definitely has to be one of the catalysts.
2 out, nobody on for Miller, and now Cody Bellinger, the batter. Bellinger might be the one Cub right now who's not locked in, batting in the 3-hole. He is behind the others in terms of early season production. He's hit well in this ballpark over the years, despite not having a lot of time here at T-Mobile Park. Small sample size, but he has 10 hits and 21 at bats in this ballpark, does Bellinger. It includes 3 home runs and 8 RBIs. Feasting off Mariner pitching the little bit he's gotten to.
Seems like Belly's just having more fun in the box. Seems more relaxed. Sometimes new scenery as an athlete helps, and glad he bet on himself and it's paid off, and they love him in the Cubs uniform. And I think in that ballpark in Wrigley, especially when that ball flies out, and you know it well, he's going to hit a lot of home runs there.
3 balls and a strike on Bellinger. Certainly some days ahead where the wind will be blowing out at Wrigley Field. Here's ball 4, so Miller walks Bellinger, and the Cubs have their first base runner.
Strike zone awareness also has gotten a lot better. I think, when he had the struggles in LA, that's the type of the bat where he would try to create something, chase out of the zone, and have a poor offer at it.
Well, Bellinger was incredible last year at making contact, so much more contact than he had made at any point in his Dodger career, even in his best seasons in LA. Here's Christopher Morel as he looks at a strike from Miller on the outside corner. Morel has been a dynamite spark plug for the Cubs offense really since he got to the big leagues last May. They really didn't know where to put him, though. He was a man without a position. He played 6 different positions last year, 5 the year before, but now he's kind of locked in as the everyday third baseman, and they're trying to get him up to speed defensively to hold down that position.
I think he's the key, because if he gets comfortable at that hot corner in third base, obviously offensively, athletically, he can do a lot of things, and he's a good lineup protector, power to all fields, and so it's important for him to stay at third base so Craig Counsell can move some other players around in different positions and keep those guys healthy as well.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Morel, and basically Craig Counsell said, well, third base is not always an offensive position if you look around the league, but if it can be, that gives us a leg up on some other teams, and it opens up the DH spot, not necessarily even for this year's team, but for future teams as well if Morel can play third base. He strikes out on a 2-2 fastball. Bryce Miller challenging Morel and beating him for his first strikeout of the night. A scoreless top of the first for Miller and the Mariners. The Mariners starting lineup presented by BetMGM. Ty France has gotten off to a good start for Seattle offense that has mostly struggled, namely the first 2 at the top of the order. Crawford and Rodriguez have not hit much in the early part of the year as J.P. Crawford stands in against left-hander Jordan Wicks.
Wasting no time.
Wicks, a former first-round pick, and he's gotten an opportunity to be in the Cubs rotation since the end of last season.
Very important for him to limit the traffic, but at the same time he pitches better, especially with runners on. It's almost like he gets tougher and focuses more, but the 4-seam fastball has to play for him to set up the other stuff.
Has a career 8 ERA in the first inning. After that, he's pretty good. A 3.41 ERA from the second inning on. But if he can get through the first inning against these Mariners, well, that's a good sign for Jordan Wicks.
A lot of pitchers go through that way, though. I mean, trying to get release point, trying to settle your heart rate down, and trying to figure things out, but has good command, especially that slider. But I think his best pitch to me is his changeup to play off that fastball.
He threw it a lot last year, actually threw his changeup more than his fastball. He has reversed that this season, throwing the fastball a lot more often, as we see Rodriguez waiting to bat next. And Crawford spoils one on 1 and 2. StatCast powered by Google Cloud for Wicks.
Yeah, like we talked about this earlier, the 4-seam fastball has to play, and he trusts that 4-seam anywhere from 91 to 93 miles an hour. The changeup, the sinker, especially the left-handed batter, has to play to be able to go west and east.
Oh, what's up?
Good take.
Chad Whitson, the home plate umpire, calling that ball 2 to Crawford, who led the American League in walks last year. He's the first shortstop to lead his league in walks since Pee Wee Reese.
I think JP just understood his strike zone awareness and where he can attack the baseball and putting himself in hitter-friendly counts.
Hits it hard on the ground, but right at a Gold Glover. Nico Horner makes the play. Big hand for Julio Rodriguez as he bats with one out here in the first.
Kind of off to a slow start right now, kind of like last year, but you look at his numbers, how he finished up 30-30. Truly impressive, especially the second half of the season.
Well, he was probably the second half MVP in the American League. And they don't give out awards for half season MVPs, but Rodriguez probably was the best player in the American League after the All-Star break last year. He hits this one well towards center field, pretty deep, but Bellinger has room. And Rodriguez off the end of his bat a bit, flies out.
That's a pitch in a zone where if this is the second half of the season, Wicks doesn't get that baseball back. That ball is middle. He tried to rush it. He was a little early. Catches it at the end of the bat.
He had 32 homers last year. 19 were after the All-Star break. He was the American League Player of the Month in August when he had 30 RBIs in that 1 month alone. And the Mariners set a franchise record for wins that month too. But what the Mariners would like is to not have to play catch up in the second half like they have really the last couple of years. Ty France, the batter. And Seattle had a big second half in 2021, fell short of the playoffs. They made it in 22, and then last year again fell a couple of games short. But Scott Service doesn't want to have to rely on July, August, and September as catch-up months.
Well, it felt like we asked him the same questions we asked him last year in Atlanta. Talked about the strikeout rate, and talked about some of the guys struggling and getting those guys going and how to get those guys going. And he gave a little chuckle because he said, "These are the same questions you guys asked us last year," and so. It's very important, especially the way the division is shaping out thus far. It seems like it's anybody's.
There's some new parts on the Seattle roster, but not really a new identity. It feels like a lot of the same from last season. Certainly built around their starting pitching. All of their rotation members are back from last year. So the Mariners, at this point, feel like they have a good idea of who they are, but what they're trying not to be is a team that strikes out all the time. So far, that hasn't been the case as Wicks bounces one to make it 2-2.
Well, if you're the Seattle Mariners, it can be very frustrating if you continue to win 85, 88 games and miss the postseason with all this talent. Especially for me, I believe it starts and ends on the mound. No one wants to see this rotation, especially if you meet them in the postseason.
Swing and a miss by Ty France. There was the changeup for Wicks, who gets his first strikeout of the night. A 1-2-3, bottom of the first.
Apple TV Plus presented by Chevrolet. Now I'm going to let Dontrell get into Bryce Miller's new splitter. I've got the hard-hitting analysis straight from his pitching coach Pete Woodworth, who called Bryce Miller a character straight out of Dazed and Confused. Specifically Matthew McConaughey's David Wooderson, the Texas laid-back country boy, easy going off the field, but a serious competitor on the field, whose understanding of pitch shaping has led to addition of that splitter this past offseason. He wanted to cut down the batting average against lefties. That splitter is helping him do it, Dontrell. And there's the shot. There's the side-by-side. I think he's got it. What do you think, guys?
All right. Spot on.
Exactly.
Like the mustache game.
Dansby Swanson swings and misses as Miller gets the fastball by him. Well, Miller pretty laid back and cool, and he knew what he needed to work on from the end of last season, where the Mariners say basically he was a one-pitch pitcher almost with that big ride on his high fastball. He's a whole new pitcher this year, although there's the fastball still getting swings and misses.
Well, when we saw him last year in Atlanta, he threw a lot of fastballs and got a lot of swing and misses the first and second time around, but the third time it got a little difficult for him once they timed up that fastball and started to get on top of it. So talked about it earlier in the ball game. Being able to change eye level will be critical for him and more impactful for the fastball at the top of the zone like he likes to go to.
He's ahead of Swanson 1-2. Miller's splitter has helped him really get left-handers out. Lefties are just 3 for 28 against Miller so far this year after battering him last year. See the numbers there on the splitter that has helped Bryce Miller be a more complete pitcher. Dansby Swanson lifts a fly ball. Julio Rodriguez with Haniger there, and it's Haniger, the right fielder, to make the catch.
Haniger telling Julio, I know you the man, but I've been the man here. That's my ball.
Haniger back with the Mariners and entering Julio's world here in Seattle. As the batter now is Michael Busch, who has played first base just about every game for the Cubs so far. Pickup from the Dodgers, and as the Cubs say, well, Busch conquered AAA. He wasn't going to crack that Dodger lineup, so the Cubs think they have themselves a pretty good find here for someone who was left over in LA but could be a big part of their offense.
Hit 27 home runs last year in AAA, and was kind of a fringe guy. Obviously not going to sit Freddie Freeman on the bench, but he's a guy that has a lot of plate coverage, power to all fields, and I think this is a chance for him to be the everyday first baseman for the Cubs for a long time if he settles in.
That ball hit hard, but it's caught. Back-footed leap by Ty France to make the catch on the liner off the bat of Busch.
Get up, get on up. I saw little hops over there. Everybody feeling good. They're not cold on that field.
This is hops.
A little bit. Yeah, little schoolyard hops, if you will. You know what I mean? And blowing a bubble at the same time.
Yeah, you got to get the bubble.
Yeah, got to give him a 9.8 on the dismount, Wayne.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
Here's Nico Horner coming up empty on a fastball. So Ty France with a leaping grab and a bubble blown at first base. It's like that big mural they have downstairs for Ken Griffey Jr. with him blowing a bubble. A little Instagram wall they have down in the tunnel of T-Mobile Park. No balls and 2 strikes on Horner.
I mean, just a legend. I mean, you walk around this beautiful ballpark. I love always coming to T-Mobile, but Ken Griffey was a hero of mine and loved playing against him, and he honored me, putting me on the Slingman team.
Little looper towards short. It gets over Crawford, and Horner has a base hit with 2 outs here in the second.
Nice piece of hit by Nico, staying on that split finger after rushing the fastball, shortening up the swing, head down through the baseball, and catching it out on the end. Getting just enough of it to get past the Gold Glove of Crawford.
So puts a pretty good base runner on for the Cubs. Horner had 43 stolen bases last year, the 4th most in the National League. Cubs haven't been terribly active on the bases so far. Might be a good time to turn Horner loose here, though. Only 2 steals for the Cubs as a team to this point, so they really haven't run at all. Nico himself does not have a stolen base yet after his 43 last year. Pretty short lead. Miller throws over anyway.
Early in the count, trying to get Tauchman to get a couple pitches to see, maybe try to hit one in the gap.
Looper toward the left field line. Dylan Moore is there to win the inning. Well, when you get a line drive hit at you, what else can you do? You catch it and you blow a bubble. No big deal. Ty France has it for the Mariners. Official vehicle of Major League Baseball. We are at T-Mobile Park tonight. The Cubs and the Mariners interleague play. Last time these 2 teams played here, the Cubs swept a 4-game series from the Mariners. Short and Wicks to Mitch Haniger, and a line drive base hit on the first pitch for Mitch Haniger. Time now for our weekly Siri trivia question. Just ask Siri, who was the 2017 American League RBI leader? Just pulling that year right out of the air. 2017 American League RBI leader.
I couldn't even blurt that out. I can't even guess that, Weezy.
You could guess it.
Oh, man.
It was Aaron Judge's rookie year.
Oh, I see where you're going with it.
Jorge Polanco takes ball 1. Doesn't mean it was him, though.
I know.
Just saying, he could have been a guess.
Trying to lead me off the scent. I know what you're doing, Wayne.
Well, here's Jorge Polanco, and I guess everybody's getting adjusted to Polanco wearing a different uniform. This was a forever Minnesota Twin, and now in his first season with the Mariners.
And a leader in that locker room. I mean, he came up with a lot of big hits for the Twins. I like this ad for the Seattle Mariners. There's so much talk about swing and miss in their lineup. He's a guy that hits from line to line, and the bigger a moment, the better he is.
Well, that's the plan, at least. So far, though, he has struck out a lot. Kind of the replacement, in a sense, for Eugenio Suarez, and yet he has done a lot of the same things, or he has struck out a boatload, tied for the American League lead to this point. That's not something you'd expect to continue for Polanco as he rips a base hit to left field. Hap into a slide to keep that ball in front of him, and now the Mariners have runners on first and second with nobody out.
Mariners taking advantage of Wick's mistakes in the heart of the zone, and that's why you're hearing loud contact. And so Scott Service talked about the approach at the plate and shortening up the swing and not being as big, and saying that will play into cutting down the swing and miss, especially when pitchers make mistakes in the strike zone. You have to be able to capitalize it.
So here's Mitch Garver as he takes ball 1. So with Mitch Haniger at second base, there's Mitch Garver at the plate. And can I interest you in the double Mitch-wich, which they have now at T-Mobile Park? It's a Haniger half sandwich and a Garver half sandwich, and they're two totally different sandwiches blended into one.
Sounds delicious that way.
We don't even know what it is yet. The Haniger half is grilled chicken, marinated tomatoes, bacon, Havarti cheese, and fried avocado.
I'm already in if you got bacon on it.
And the Garver half is pulled pork, Black Forest ham, Swiss cheese, Dijonnaise, and pickles.
Talk to me, Wayne.
Heidi, you're eating it right now?
Okay, I haven't dove into it yet, but I have it in front of me right now. This is going to be my dinner at some point when I get a chance. It looks pretty good, I got to say. And I asked Mitch Haniger about it beforehand. He said the team approached him and said, hey, we're thinking of doing this double Mitch-wich. And he said, as long as some of the proceeds go to Children's Hospital here in the area in Seattle, I'm down. So $1 of every sandwich purchased goes to Children's Hospital here in Seattle. So that's pretty cool. And I'll let you know how it is once I actually take a bite.
I'm wondering which half of the double Mitch-wich is best. There's ball 3 to Mitch Garver. And it's a full count. At least Heidi got to eat dinner tonight. You ditched me on dinner.
You know what? I knew you were going to bring that up. It will not happen again. I just wanted to get all my notes together, Wayne. You know what I mean? This is a big matchup. This is a big matchup tonight.
Two playoff hopefuls that got very close in 2023. And now 3-2 count on Mitch Garver. And there's ball 4. So Jordan Wicks in some serious trouble. 2 hits and a walk to load the bases.
Yeah, well, a couple of line drives, and all of a sudden on the mound mentally, that plate gets very small because you don't want to give up another line drive, and so you're trying to nibble and avoid that loud contact. And good job by Garver laying off that fastball down.
Here's Cal Raleigh, and it seems like any time the Mariners need a big hit, it's Raleigh there to deliver one. Fouling off the first pitch from Jordan Wicks. It was on Wednesday when Raleigh went deep in the 10th inning against Toronto, putting the Mariners on top in a game where they would score 5 runs in the 10th inning to beat the Blue Jays.
Seems like he has a flair for the dramatics, especially in that lineup. He's led all catchers in home runs the last couple of years, so the power threat on both sides is always there.
We had that big walk-off home run to clinch the playoff spot a couple of years ago that sent this place into a frenzy in late September. Leaves and misses on the changeup, and it's 1-2. Most of Raleigh's power has come from the left side of the plate in his career.
Good changeup by Wicks. He threw that one with conviction. He needed that pitch. Might double up with that.
Swing and a miss. He did double up, and Jordan Wicks strikes out Cal Raleigh.
The arm motion sold it, Wayne. Being able to throw that changeup off that plane, and it never got the cow. And Yan Gomes is an elite game caller. He's been around for a long time.
Now Dylan Moore as he takes ball one. The Mariners have had issues scoring runs in the early part of the year. Jordan Wicks allowing the bases to be loaded with nobody out, but he gets the first out by striking out Cal Raleigh. And then offensively, when does the doubt start to creep in that, you know, here we go, there's a situation and now we may not come through?
Well, I mean, it's such a long season, but Scott Servais talked about it. He's like, you can't worry about late in the year where you'll be at. You have to win plays right now. And see, this is a situation where you have to be able to cash in.
Suzuki has it in right field, and the Mariners will not challenge the arm of Suzuki, who gets it in. So Wicks has rebounded with back-to-back outs, and the bases are still loaded.
The situational hitting hasn't come around yet for Seattle, and that's going to be key because you're looking at the division right now. You know the Texas Rangers can score. You still got your man Mike Trout that you love watching and covering, so you know they're going to be able to score. When you have situations like this, guys have to be able to bear down and give quality at bats.
Mariners just averaging around 3 runs per game so far, and here's a golden chance they're trying not to let slip away. It's the number 9 batter Luis Urias taking ball one. Slow start for the third baseman Urias, replacing a popular figure around here in Suarez. As Urias fouls one off, and it's 1 ball 1 strike.
I mean, to lose Suarez, I mean, obviously he has 30 to 40 home run power, but the type of guy he was in that locker room, his leadership, always came to the ballpark with a smile. So they're going to have to really step up together to fill the void.
Now Wicks gets ahead. 1 ball 2 strikes. If you're the pitcher here, you load the bases, nobody out, you get 2 outs, and now you're at 2 strikes. What are you thinking to put this one away?
He's been throwing the changeup very well. He's done a good job of slowing Urias' bat down. But now you have options. You're ahead in the count. Maybe you want to throw a fastball in or double up with the changeup like he did Cal Raleigh, but it has to be down.
Went to the fastball up. Urias had a big swing and fouled it.
Fastball in. That was his best fastball at 95 miles an hour. Credit to Urias for really spoiling that pitch.
Well, Wicks still ahead. 1 ball 2 strikes. A Haniger single, a Polanco single, a walk to Garver loaded the bases. Still that way with 2 outs. And Urias fouls off another fastball in the same spot.
Now you have a chance to be able to change eye level. And if you're Urias, you're thinking, man, I missed 2 fastballs that I have to put in play.
Oh, he hit him. Jordan Wicks hits Urias with a pitch, and the Mariners are gifted a run with 2 outs.
That's one way you can do it, Wayne. Fought off some good fastballs and put himself in a good situation, and Wicks has held on and overcooked that slider a little too much, and Yan Gomes looks down like, oh man, we let him off the hook right there.
Jordan Wicks was a pitch away from getting out of a bases loaded, nobody out jam. Tommy Hotovy, the Cubs pitching coach, is out on the mound. Instead, Wicks hits a batter for the first time in his major league career. It's an RBI for Urias. And Seattle gets out to the 1-0 lead, and now J.P. Crawford steps up with a chance to do some damage as the bases remain loaded. Scott Servais went out with the trainer to take a look at Urias. He was grimacing out there at first base.
It's not a night where you want to get hit with a baseball. It is cold.
A little chilly out there tonight. See where this got Urias.
Oh, right under the knee. Right under the knee.
Wicks touches the outside corner, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike on Crawford, who has turned into a de facto captain for this Mariners team. Had a huge year offensively last year, by far the best of his career. And a Gold Glove winner at shortstop on top of it.
Looks a little different at the plate. Looks like his hands are a little bit lower than years past.
He made a lot of changes to his offensive game last year. Spent some time at Driveline. That one got a piece of the bat as he tried to hold his swing, so it's a strike, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes on J.P. Crawford.
Looking for the fastball out over the plate, and they just tied him up and give a little nip to the barrel.
He's done well in his career with the bases loaded. And he grounds this one to third. It is handled by Morel. Look to second base, but fires it to first to retire Crawford. Jordan Wicks minimizes the damage, but he does give up a 2-out run. Thrilling story of Benjamin Franklin making the greatest gamble of his career as the fate of America hangs in the balance. The first 3 episodes of Franklin are now streaming on Apple TV+. Watch it after the game.
Sounds tight.
It does.
Michael Douglas go hard.
How could he go wrong with Benjamin Franklin? Great figure in American history.
Absolutely. Kind of like Wayne Randazzo.
Oh, yes. Just exactly like that. Yan Gomes leads off here in the 3rd inning against Bryce Miller. As Miller pumps in a fastball for a strike. His fastball's been sharp here in the early going.
Yeah, good velocity. Does an outstanding job staying behind the baseball so the spin stays true.
Cubs have actually swung the bats very well against 4-seam fastballs so far this year. As Gomes is empty again there. The Cubs are slugging .538 off 4-seam fastballs. That's the 2nd best in the major leagues. As a pitcher, if you knew that, would that make you any less likely to throw the fastball?
No, because the fastball sets everything up. I mean, you have to lie to yourself and say you haven't seen my fastball yet.
Well, Yan Gomes saw 3 of them and struck out on 3 pitches.
You know, this is the breakdown. This is what I mean about changing eye level. The split finger and the fastball tunneling out of the same position. But you see the depth change. One fastball's at Cody Bellinger's chin, and then the split finger down by the knees. So that makes it very tough to cover, especially if he's commanding with that type of velocity. So the hitter has to make a decision. Hey, I'm going to hunt the fastball, or I'm going to look at spin or depth change.
Miller throwing his 4-seam fastball in a similar way that he used it last year, throwing it about 60% of the time so far tonight. As he faces Ian Happ. Happ flied out to right field his first time. And that was really the usage for Miller last year on the 4-seamer. So interesting that he's really attacking these Cubs hitters that hit the 4-seam well with that fastball early on.
The one thing I learned about playing with guys from Texas, they believe in that Texas size fastball. They are not afraid to use it. Big time arm, big time aggression. But regardless of how hard you throw, everything starts and ends off that fastball. You have to allow and get the hitter to engage and then change. Oh, little Joe Kelly. Maybe a little Johnny Cueto.
Ian Happ with a chopper. Good pick by Urias at 3rd. And he gets Happ.
That's a good play by Urias. He got caught in between the hop, made a decision to pick it backhand. Knew he had enough time to give a little glove tap and put a nice easy throw. Smart play. I like that. You take a step back, then all of a sudden you're getting that second bounce and a little spin. That'd be tough to receive that and make a good throw to first.
2 outs, and here's Suzuki, who popped out to short his first time. Miller is from Mount Pleasant, Texas. He went to New Braunfels High School, which is near San Antonio, and then Texas A&M. So he is Texas forever. 25-year-old Bryce Miller. 4th round pick of the Mariners in 2021. The Mariners love him. They think he has got all the makeup and tools that he needs to be a big time pitcher in this league. And joining a staff that has some other guys who have done it already, and Luis Castillo and Others who are making that climb, like Logan Gilbert and George Kirby. Suzuki hits it hard and rifles it past France into right field. Knocked the other way for Seiya Suzuki with 2 outs here in the third.
The loud noises, Wayne. Outstanding swing and approach. Ahead in the count, and that ball ties him up a little bit, but he's strong enough to stay inside that baseball and hit it with authority right past France.
France was kind of moving toward first when that ball was on its way to the plate, so he got his feet stuck a little bit. Suzuki smashed it right past him to bring up Cody Bellinger. Bellinger hits one hard towards center field, but it hangs up. Rodriguez right there, and that ends the inning. 2-out hit, but that's all. Bryce Miller has shut out the Cubs through 3. Updates faster than ever. Get personalized highlight reels based on players you follow every day. Download the MLB app today as we come to you from beautiful T-Mobile Park in Seattle tonight. The Mariners out to a 1-0 lead against the Cubs. Here in the bottom of the third, Julio Rodriguez leads off against Jordan Wicks. Check swing foul. Wicks was maybe lucky to give up just 1 run in the second, but also maybe unlucky to give up 1 run in the second.
I mean, 1 pitch away, held on to the slider, hit Urias, but thus far early in this season, he seems to be able to get out of jams, especially with runners on. Seems like he gets tough and bears down and really starts to follow the glove and able to execute.
Rodriguez flied out to center field his first time against Wicks. Comes up empty there, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. 30-30 for Julio last year. Only other Mariner to ever do that was Alex Rodriguez. Whiffed on that changeup. Still in his early 20s, 23 years old now. Rodriguez came up empty there. Maybe he got a piece, but he didn't strike 3. So Jordan Wicks gets him to bite on that changeup again.
Yeah, he just looks in between. He swung at the changeup before, and Yan Gomes saw something in his swing. They doubled up with that changeup. He's just not picking up the release point. He just doesn't seem comfortable right now.
That's 3 strikeouts for Wicks against a Mariner team that has struck out over 10.5 times per game so far this year. A little topper toward third. Backhand. Morel can't get the throw off. Infield hit for Ty France.
Well, that's a line drive in the book, Wayne. You know, but Morel kind of felt like it was going to go foul. He felt in between, and France was hustling out of the box, and he still had a chance if he would have felt that cleanly. Like Craig Counsell talked about, they're going to continue to give him chances to develop into a high-level third baseman.
Yeah, it's not going to change it doesn't sound like. Morel's going to play third base for this team. They might make some changes late in games as they have to get a more defensive lineup in there if they need to. But day in and day out, Morel's going to be the third baseman moving forward for the Cubs. And it's a plan that it doesn't sound like Craig Counsell wants to deviate from right now. Morel made some errors early. He hasn't made as many lately. Maybe could have handled that last try better, but ultimately a base hit for Ty France.
But that's just a field play right there. You know, more reps, he's going to be more aggressive and understand the ball off the bat.
2 balls and a strike on Haniger. Counsell says it made sense why the Cubs utilized Morel in a more utility type role the last couple of years, but he thinks it also makes sense for this team right now to have Morel at third base and open up that DH role for others. There's a ground ball to the left side. Swanson has that to Horner for 1 over to first. Not in time. The Cubs trying to turn 2 on the ball deep in the hole. It's short.
Dansby's one of the best over there. I mean, being able to get behind the base, fire the ball. Nico off one leg, and it was bang bang, especially with Haniger hustling down the line. But for me, when the Cubs teams are really good, they're really athletic and they play clean defense. They really help their pitcher. So that's very important for Morel to really be able to settle in on the third base side. So because they got gold everywhere else. So it's very important.
They won 3 Gold Gloves last year between Swanson and Horner up the middle, and Ian Happ in left field. Cubs middle infield tandem, the first in 7 years to have their shortstop and second baseman both win Gold Gloves. The Giants did it in 2016 with Brandon Crawford and Joe Panik. Swanson goes out, Ian Happ comes in, and it's Happ to retire Polanco to end the third.
Way to get an RBI. You went to check on him. How's he doing?
He's okay. He felt a lot better when you get hit when it is an RBI. So it's a cold night here tonight, but he hung in there, got that run across the plate. He's gonna be fine.
Bryce Miller hanging in there against a really tough Cubbies offense, one of the best offenses in the league in the early going. What's he doing so well?
He's got to stay ahead in the count. You know, they're very patient, so hopefully keep him in good counts. He's got good stuff tonight. Fastball, 2-seamer, and the 4-seamer is really good, and got to keep that secondaries in zone because they'll be patient with him.
Thanks, Scott.
You got it.
Scott Service, the longtime manager of the Mariners now, and at one time a Chicago Cub. He was a catcher for the Cubs in the mid to late 90s. Christopher Morel is at the plate leading off the 4th against Bryce Miller. This one will reach the seats. Raleigh fortunate to not lose his footing around some of the stuff Dansby Swanson was using in the on-deck circle. Got a whole toolkit back there.
It's like Ace Hardware. Man.
There's those canisters out there too. Is that Swanson using hairspray in the on-deck circle?
I don't know.
Keep that flow looking right.
You know what? He uses a high-end conditioner.
I bet he does.
I mean, obviously it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of tools over there.
Yeah, see those canisters there with maybe keeping Dansby Swanson's hair looking right.
Like
got a great head of hair, you know.
I like where you're going with it, Wayne. I like where you're going with it.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Morel. Struck out his first time. Miller's fanned a couple in the early going. Wasn't a big strikeout guy last year. He did burst onto the scene when he first got to the major leagues. He had a great major league debut against the Oakland A's last year. Miller in that game against Oakland had 10 strikeouts, took a perfect game into the 6th inning of his major league debut, which was not even a year ago. It was in May of 2023. So Miller's still not even a full year into his big league career.
Good sinker right there. But you know, the one thing about him, watching him, his mound presence is elite. I mean, you would think he's a 10-year veteran as far as the way he's commanding the strike zone, throwing the secondary pitches, but also showing the ability to be able to follow swings. And so I think that's a missing art, because everybody wants to be max effort with everything, whether it be spin or velocity, but you also have to follow a guy's swing and really gather information of where you can attack him.
He had thrown all fastballs so far to Morel before that last splitter. Got a foul ball and I guess a broken bat as well.
Oh, that pain. Yeah,
chilly night.
Yeah, that's like when I hit the bedpost. Or stepping on the Lego, Wayne. You know what I mean? Stepping on the Lego. Gotta love the babies, but sometimes you step on that Lego late at night. You up for the rest of the night.
Oh, been there. It is a little brisk here tonight in Seattle. Meanwhile, we're going to tell you the answer to our weekly Siri trivia question. Well, who was the American League leader in RBIs back in 2017? It was a Mariner, and it was Nelson Cruz, who had 119 RBIs for the Mariners in that 2017 season, even though it was Altuve and Judge battling for the MVP award that year in the American League. Morel with a fly ball to right. As Mitch Haniger waits for it. And there's one away here in the 4th.
I like what Miller did right there. He saw Morel having grimacing from the fastball before. The rule of thumb is go back in there. The hitter is not going to be as aggressive. So they used the 2-seam fastball to go in there and tie him up. Morel just kind of abbreviated that swing to try to fight it off, and they end up winning the battle.
One out here is Dansby Swanson as he looks at a strike. Heidi has more on Nelson Cruz.
Yeah, Nelson Cruz opened the Mariners season by throwing out the ceremonial first pitch. He signed a one-day contract, officially retiring as a member of the Mariners organization. It's interesting, though, because Cruz spent more years as a Texas Ranger, but he said he always identified himself as a Mariner. He had some of his best years here, guys.
Swanson lines out to Dylan Moore in left field. Nelson Cruz, a three-time All-Star in his 4 seasons in Seattle, hit 163 homers in those years, and they kind of spiked the first pitch there.
Two of the legends.
King Felix on the other end for Nelson Cruz. Throughout that ceremonial first pitch, getting a one-day contract. That's what you need. The Marlins need to give you a one-day contract. Let you go out there and lift the right leg again.
There's a D-Train day. There's a D-Train day coming. You know, Weezy, I'm gonna have to come out there and announce it.
I would love to.
There's a D-Train day, D-Train bobblehead day.
Oh, baby. Let me get my hands on one of those bobbleheads.
I know a guy.
You got the big leg kick?
I know a guy for you, Wayne.
Is this high enough?
This, make sure you put it next to that Cubs pennant. You know, we can squash our beef in the booth.
Michael Busch hooks one toward the right field corner. That's a base hit as it goes off the wall in the corner, and Busch ends up at second base with a 2-out double, the first extra base hit tonight.
Always love this kid's swing and his makeup, especially in Dodger camp. I think the Cubs faithful is going to be very happy about this kid this year and just the development of his swing. Very aggressive, has that power, head down through the baseball. Defensively, you can trust him anywhere as well, and so I think he's going to elongate that lineup and provide some thump from the left side.
That's the plan for Busch. He certainly wore out AAA pitching over the last couple of years. Freddie Freeman has first base on lockdown for the Dodgers, so Busch was expendable. The Cubs traded a couple prospects to get him and Yency Almonte. They like what Michael Busch can bring to their lineup if he is able to hit big league pitching consistently, which so far he has in the first couple of weeks of the year. Horner had a base hit his first time. He's got Busch at second base here with 2 outs. Fly ball to right, hit fairly well, but Haniger is there. Bryce Miller works around a 2-out double. Still a 1-0 game in Seattle.
Here, Christopher Morel kind of wringing his hand there. That just the cold weather here tonight?
He has an injury to one of his fingers, so the cold weather just probably exasperated a little bit.
Dansby Swanson told me that you called him in the offseason. You told him, hey, you're one of the old guys now. We need you to be a veteran on this team. What does he bring to this team?
Well, he brings just consistency and solid in his leadership, and solid who he is every single day, and that really helps everybody else. That consistency is what's required for a long season.
All right, thanks, Craig.
Thanks.
Well, that is what Dansby Swanson was brought to Chicago to be. Got a 7-year deal, $177 million. It's the kind of contract that you're asking for someone to come in and be a leader.
5th most games played since 2020, so he's out there every day, and that's what Craig Counsell talks about, being a true professional and being the staple in the field general out there. And he makes all the routine plays, and he comes up with a lot of big hits, and so kind of an extension of the manager on the field.
He played 147 games last year, and he kind of felt at the end of it that it was not enough because he wants to be out there day in and day out. He played all of them. 162 for the Braves the year before and 160 the year before that. Good change up there to get a swing and a miss from Garver, and it's 3 balls 2 strikes. Quite a postseason run Garver had last year, winning a World Series with the Texas Rangers. He had 14 RBIs in October. Cooled off a bit in the World Series itself, but the Rangers got by the Diamondbacks no problem.
It's outside.
Garver takes ball 4, so Mitch Garver, I guess soon will be getting one of those rings that the Texas looks like a UFO, the Rangers World Series ring. It is enormous.
Man, it was fancy. It was a Texas size ring, and it's got a lot of things going on. I think you can flip it inside out. You know,
it's got like 2 covers.
Yeah, it was really, really cool to see the video of that. So.
Well earned for Mitch Garver and the Rangers. There's a weak swing and a miss by Cal Raleigh, and that type of celebration that the Rangers had to win their first World Series last year. Well, that's what the Mariners are hoping to achieve this year, or at least sometime soon. The only active franchise in Major League Baseball that has not experienced a World Series.
Can you imagine this place if they get a World Series ball game in here? I mean, the atmosphere on a regular given night is awesome here. Can you imagine if they finally get there, the energy in the Pacific Northwest? I mean, our meeting's going to be 2 hours earlier to get to the field, Wayne. I mean, the traffic in Seattle. I mean, they love baseball, and it's the joy of summer. You know, that's what the Seattle Mariners, in my opinion, embody. It's like it's summertime, and so get over the rain, get over the clouds, and you go see a ball game at one of the best ballparks in baseball.
Mitch Garver advances to second base on a wild pitch. Well, the Mariners have been around since 1977. As we see this ball skip off of Gomes.
Gomes tried to turn over his glove last minute, and that ball just bounced off his forearm. Usually pretty sure-handed behind there to be able to block and keep the double play in order, but just not right there in that play.
Swing and a miss. Raleigh bites on the changeup again, and Jordan Wicks has his 4th strikeout. There's Dylan Moore coming up to the tune of More Energy by Revolution. Listen to all your favorite players' walk-up songs on Apple Music.
Oh, it might be our first one.
Oh, baby.
Oh.
It's right in your wheelhouse.
You know me. Full extension.
There it is.
Uh-oh, uh-oh.
The ball's 15 feet.
I just was practicing.
Replay.
I was just practicing just in case.
This one, another one that's
just in case. You want me to look out for you, Wayne. I know you're athletic, but not as athletic as you used to be.
I think I'm more athletic than I used to be. The great Dave Niehaus. There's another Hall of Famer right there. Cubs radio legend Pat Hughes doing the game on Cubs radio tonight. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Dylan Moore.
Got a chance to meet Pat for the first time today, and he said, man, I got a chance to watch you pitch. I said, oh, that's unfortunate for you, Pat. I apologize for wasting your time. He said, no. I said, I appreciate that. Absolutely a legend.
I remember exactly where I was when I heard that man right there, Pat Hughes, call Aramis Ramirez's grand slam in the National League Championship Series, and it was off you. I remember exactly where I was.
When you crossed the line. You crossed the line, all right?
Pat had a great call. It was a great call. An edge of your seat call for that grand slam in the championship series.
You know what? I'm going to tell you an inside story about that.
Yeah,
but this is a great ball game. And, you know, it was a high fly ball, and when it went over, I literally was just crushed. And to hear the Cubs faithful, nice little take right there. To hear the Cubs faithful cheer, especially down in Miami. But that was that type of series, though, where it was seesaw. And it was talent, and you know, it was legends on both sides of the diamond. But, yeah, that was a tough moment. It was tough to go home. I think I ate a Hot Pocket. It was cold in the middle. It was just a tough night for Dontrell. It was just a tough night for Dontrell. You know what I mean? But
you had much shinier nights.
Yeah. It's okay. But no, Ramirez. Every time I see him, he's a legend. He used to wear me out. But I'm sure the call was very, very cool, and I'm glad you enjoyed that, Wayne.
I did.
How did that end up, though?
I didn't enjoy it.
So you started it, Wayne. I thought we were growing together. You know, we had a couple bumps in the road about a little Cubs. I don't wear my ring on the road because I love you, but don't push it.
No balls, 2 strikes on Luis Urias. By the way, you know, since we're talking about the whole Chicago thing here, I saw a video of you eating deep dish pizza. It went viral, and people were giving you grief. I'm on your side here. People were giving you grief because you're eating it with a fork and knife. How else are you supposed to eat it?
Yeah. Could change up my Wicks.
It's a humongous.
What is the ruling? You're in Chicago.
No, you got to have a fork.
Do you have a fork and a knife? I mean, I'm in the booth. I'm with your good friend Joe Davis trying to call a Dodger Cubs game, and they handed me a slice. And, you know, I felt a little overwhelmed, a little ambush, and I went at it the best I could.
No, I think you did the right thing. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Luis Urias. Wicks has walked a couple in the inning, and the Mariners have had some traffic on the bases. So they know, these people know all about how to eat a real Chicago deep dish pizza. A lot of people that flew in from Chicago, a lot of Cubs fans making the rare trip for the Cubs to play here in Seattle, especially with it being the weekend. As Urias lines one just foul. That was close down the line.
Well, Cubs fans everywhere, and Cubs fans travel very well. Got drafted by the Cubs. Close.
Doug Eddings umpiring at third.
Woke Doug up.
Doug Eddings has his own place in Chicago baseball history on the other side of town with the White Sox in 2005. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Luis Urias, who was hit by a pitch in the second inning with the bases loaded, which scored the only run of this game so far. He swings and misses here as Wicks blows the fastball by him, the 5th strikeout for Wicks.
2 things I see right here. It seems like Wicks, you need to tell him you have runners on all the time, because it seems like he bears down and makes pitches when he has to. And he did a good job of slowing Urias down with the changeup. Before that, the fastball plays up, especially at 93, feels like 97.
Crawford comes up on that swing without making contact, and it's no balls and a strike. Crawford's grounded out twice. You see Wicks in these spots, he tends to clamp down.
It's tough. I mean, it's his makeup. Says, if I'm going to get beat, I'm going to get beat with my best pitch. And it just seems sharper when there's runners on. And maybe that's just a mechanical thing out of the stretch, that he's cleaner, less movement, being able to attack the zone. He's throwing a couple fastballs at Crawford and tying him up and not allowing him to be able to extend his arms. Ooh, fastball fouled off and hit out the top of the foot. Can't be feeling good about that, especially in a night like this.
No balls and 2 strikes on Crawford as he tries to get some feeling back in that foot and take on Wicks here.
They might double up and go right back inside. I want the slider away.
Fastball up and away instead. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Crawford. Jordan Wicks has had to deal with some traffic, but he's shown some moxie here. This is only his 10th major league start.
Good block.
Kind of carries himself in a more veteran way, does Wicks. He was drafted in 2021. Had 7 starts at the major league level last year. This is his 3rd this year. From Arkansas, but he was drafted out of Kansas State University.
Wicks' first Cubs starter to record a win in first 3 starts since 1901.
And last year, as the 2-2 comes, Crawford pokes it foul. Wicks has not been able to go deep into a game yet. He has not made it through 5 innings in a start this year. He's faced a couple of tough offenses. Had to go up against Texas in his first outing and the Dodgers last time. He's had to throw a lot of pitches to get into the 4th inning today.
But he's yet to allow a home run, which says a lot, especially going up against those high-powered offenses.
Crawford laid off, and it's a full count. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Rodriguez on deck. So even though Julio's been struggling, he's not the guy you want to invite up in a game-changing situation.
Outside.
Just missed. Wicks was headed for the dugout, but instead it's his 3rd walk of the inning. He has walked the bases loaded to bring up Julio Rodriguez. Tommy Honaby will come out to talk to him.
It's a ball, but Wicks wanted that pitch off the plate. He threw that 4-seam with conviction, and the way that Yan Gomes received it did a good job of making that look like it was on the plate.
Well, 3 walks load the bases and bring up the most feared hitter in the lineup. What's your reaction now as a pitcher seeing Julio come up there?
Well, he's done a good job, if you're Wicks, of keeping him off balance, and a lot of that is with the changeup. Now, you know that he slowed him down a lot, so you're thinking And Julio's going to be looking for this changeup. So the first 2 pitches, if you can get through that, will set up and dictate the at-bat. So one of these pitches, though, has to be a fastball. You can't allow Julio to continue to see the same depth changeup because he'll slow himself down and hit the baseball with authority.
He's 0 for 2 tonight with a strikeout. Wicks is fan 5. It's been a slow start for Rodriguez. You never know when he's going to bust out. He swings through a changeup and it's 0-1.
This whole Mariners offense, they're just not picking up the changeup, and Wicks' arm swing is doing a good job of selling that changeup.
Rodriguez has only had 1 extra base hit so far, but he lines this ball toward right center. Bellinger comes in, slides and knocks it down. 2-run score on a base hit for Julio Rodriguez. Garver and Moore come in. Bellinger lucky to keep that in front of him as the Mariners take a 3-0 lead.
Julio finally gets right on a sequence. Wicks threw the changeup down. Julio swings through it, and then all of a sudden Wicks tries to back him up with a fastball up. But Julio just too strong of an individual, being able to muscle it out with 2 RBIs.
If that ball would have skipped by Bellinger, it's 3 runs at least.
Off to the races. Julio hitting .333 with bases loaded with 31 RBIs coming into that situation.
Now Ty France slaps one the other way for an RBI base hit. It scores Crawford, and the Mariners break through with 2 outs in the 4th against Jordan Wicks.
Wayne, you just can't walk that many people in the inning, especially you're lining yourself up for trouble coming into the teeth of their lineup. I don't care who you're facing and what offense is struggling, eventually they're going to get to you.
Cubs have their bullpen up as Drew Smiley is getting loose. Wicks has thrown 88 pitches in just 3 2/3 innings, and as you said, the base on balls has really hurt him, especially in this inning. He's walked 4 overall. He's hit a batter, 5 strikeouts, a lot of deep counts. As Smiley gets ready, doesn't have his cap on because it's being fitted for PitchCom. The Mariners finally get the big hits here in the 4th.
It's all with 2 outs, and so I thought the Mariners did a good job of changing their sights and looking to the opposite field. If a guy from the left side is throwing changeup that's falling away from the right-handed batter, you have to make an adjustment and change your sights and hit the ball to the opposite field.
There's a strike to Haniger, and it's 3-1. So Julio Rodriguez gets the big hit, a 2-run, 2-out single. Ty France follows with an RBI as well. Garver, the 3-1 changeup couldn't connect, and now 3-2. Haniger, rather. It was Garver who walked to start the inning. Wicks has thrown 37 pitches in this inning alone.
That's a lot of throws, and then now you're starting to flirt into the danger zone, 40 and above.
Haniger spoils the 3-2 pitch. A lot of reliance on that changeup for hit for Wicks. There's a swing and a miss to get out of the inning, but Jordan Wicks allows a couple of 2-out hits that give the Mariners some extra runs. It was Julio Rodriguez with a 2-run single. Ty France kept it rolling from there, and an RBI to make it 4-0 Seattle. Retired by Major League Baseball in 1997. Retired by the Dodgers in 1972, and Jackie Robinson Day is coming up on Monday to commemorate the anniversary of Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier in Major League Baseball. Mike Tauchman looks at a strike. Jackie's 42 hangs in every ballpark throughout Major League Baseball, including here at T-Mobile Park.
no. Big!
Tauchman is DHing tonight, lined out to the left fielder his first time. Bryce Miller working with a bigger lead now. The Mariners scored 3 2-out runs in the bottom of the fourth. Tauchman couldn't keep that one fair. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
You know, the one thing I like about Bryce Miller, we talked about the split finger a lot, but it's a little cold, bat speed's a little slower. He made the adjustment and threw the 4-seam fastball. That's always going to play because he has the ride and the spin rate to be able to change the eye level and blow guys up and pitch at the top of the zone. It looks very enticing to a hitter to be able to get on top of that, but that ball stays true, and at the velocity that he throws, anywhere from 95 to 97, it's going to be a difficult cover for hitters.
Miller's only had 2 strikeouts despite getting those swings and misses, as Tauchman tries to flip one toward the left field line, but Dylan Moore catches up to it, and there's 1 away. Miller in command, as you see the spin rate on his fastball among the highest in the major leagues last year. The Mariners trying to keep their young pitchers healthy. George Kirby, they've got Brian Wu on the IL right now, but Kirby, Gilbert, Miller, Emerson Hancock, who is pitching in the game tomorrow against Shota Imanaga for the Cubs. Trying to keep pitchers healthy seems to be harder than ever right now.
Yeah, it's a perfect storm, especially for these arms. Everybody wants to throw max effort, and we're so enamored with the stuff and the ability, and it's really cool to watch, and you love where the game is trending, but at what cost? And so health is wealth, regardless of what sport you're in, and I'm a firm believer that it starts and ends on the mound. If you have good pitching, you're going to more oftentimes than not shut down good offenses, and so it's important to keep those guys healthy, as you can see.
Well, Yan Gomes has had no chance with Miller tonight.
He's not picking up that fastball.
6 pitches to strike out Yan Gomes twice, and I think they've all been fastballs.
He sees something in Jan's swing path, and that's what I mean about following swings, because Jan at this point in his career, you know, if you throw a backup slider or a bad split finger, that goes right into his bat path. So he's challenging Jan to speed up his bat, and he just can't catch up.
Strike on the inside corner to Ian Happ. He's 0 for 2.
But back to, you know, the injuries. I mean, does the pitch clock play in? Could be. But I think it's just more so of this the strength and guys learning how to pitch to contact and not, you know, having to get your max effort slider every pitch. Being able to throw that get me over to get swing and miss and be more efficient, you know. And I get it. These guys are all Ferraris. Everybody throws 100 miles an hour, so you want to use the stuff that you possess with, but
it's astounding to me to see these guys at the beginning of spring training coming in and throwing 99, 100, 100. Jacob deGrom did it with the Mets. He'd come in on March 4th and face the Houston Astros in West Palm Beach and blow these guys away.
And I get it, you know, but for me, it's learning how to command the baseball and having a feel of the ball and learning how to navigate lineups and trying new things and still being able to have the ability to get outs. And so that's why that, you know, you look at some of these numbers like who's going to be the next 300-game winner, who's going to, you know, strike out 3,000 people. Well, it's looking like now that people aren't going to have enough chances to have longevity to be able to achieve those. So
absolutely. Ian Happ hits one hard on the ground foul. I mean, Verlander's got a shot at 300. He'll have to pitch into almost his mid-40s to get there, but he does have a chance to do it. After Verlander, it might be decades before we see another 300-game winner.
But you brought up a great example. Justin Verlander, prime Justin Verlander, he'll start off the game 94, 95, and then all of a sudden, if he needs it, he'll uptick to a 98, 99. But learning how to pitch and keep yourself healthy is the key.
Well, Ian Happ draws a walk with 2 outs as Miller was getting that inside corner except for that last pitch. So Happ is aboard to bring up Suzuki. Tonight's odds are courtesy of BetMGM as we take a look at the odds to make the postseason for both of these teams. Well, flip a coin for the Cubs and the Mariners. It's kind of where they ended up last year. Some things went wrong. down the stretch, especially for the Cubs and especially for Suzuki, who had that drop fly ball in the game against the Braves. Every little bit you think about when you lose the playoffs by one game. Well, the Cubs had their chances against the Diamondbacks in the month of September, and they got knocked around by the eventual National League champions.
I mean, you think about that play if you're a Cubs fan, but really it was the bullpen failing them towards the end of the year. They gave away a lot of big games, but you know, in the back of your mind, you're thinking that's a routine fly ball, and obviously it changes the game.
And you don't want to pick on Suzuki, who had a very strong second half.
Wow.
One kind of it, when that happened, a lot of Cubs fans recalled 1998 and when Brant Brown dropped the ball toward the end of the season in a big game. The Cubs made the playoffs that year anyway. But Brant Brown had that crucial drop in a game against Milwaukee, and there was a lot of comparison between Suzuki's drop to Brant Brown's. Well, Brant Brown's here. He's actually the bench coach now for the Seattle Mariners. So there's ball one to Suzuki. So both Brant Brown and Seiya Suzuki in the ballpark tonight. One ball and two strikes on Suzuki, who had a base hit his last time. It's a soft bouncer. And to make the play at second base is Jorge Polanco, and Bryce Miller continues to cruise. Plus presented by Chevrolet. I'm Wayne Randazzo with the D-Train, Dontrell Willis and Heidi Watney. We are in Seattle at T-Mobile Park, where the home team has gotten a couple of big hits and some great pitching from Bryce Miller to lead the Cubs 4-0. New pitcher for Chicago, veteran left-hander Drew Smyly.
11 big seasons. Third with the Chicago Cubs. Got a chance to talk to him. Said he raves about being Cubs faithful, Wayne. I don't understand why, but he loves it.
You were on the other end of it.
I had to give a little jab back, you know, since you brought up the little deep dish.
Can't imagine that there is a better place to suit up and play a baseball game than at Clark and Addison on a summer afternoon. As Jorge Polanco fouls one off. Certainly as passionate of a fan base as you'll ever be around, and the Cubs still pack Wrigley Field as much as they ever have.
And the fans know baseball. They're passionate. They know baseball, and it seems like everybody's generational Cubs fans in their household. So it's always fun to go back to Wrigley.
Well, it certainly gets passed on. 2 balls, 2 strikes. T-Mobile Park lit up in pink tonight.
Nice.
Mariners in their City Connect uniforms. The black pants tonight.
I like them, Wayne. I like them. I like them.
Not too bad. I haven't seen the Cubs wear theirs this year. The Wrigleyville navy blue uniforms they have. Probably just as well. The Cubs home whites are, they don't need another one. God, they nailed it. The blue pinstripes, the white jersey, just leave it alone.
It is timeless.
3-2 on Polanco, and there's ball 4. Looked like Chad Whitson flinched back there, but Smyly walks Polanco. That's the 5th walk issued by a Cubs pitcher tonight.
And Drew wanted that pitch. You're absolutely right. He did flinch back there, thinking that a slider landed. Ooh, that's too close to take.
So the leadoff man on, another walk. This time Mitch Garver is the batter. He's walked twice, but he puts one in play here as a fly ball heads toward right center. Suzuki calls for it and makes the catch. Want more stats for this game and other sports? Apple Sports is here, your new app for real-time scores and stats. Fast and simple. Apple Sports available to download free in the App Store in the US, Canada, and the UK on iPhone models on iOS 17.2 or later.
I like that app too, Wayne. Real time. If I can use it, anybody can use it. I like it.
Well, let me know if you need some help.
You know what?
Just in case.
You know what? That's enough out of you over there. You're just happy to see me, Wayne. That's okay. This is your love.
I missed you last week.
You're a busy man.
Yeah. With the Angels' home opener last week. Two balls, no strikes on Cal Raleigh. We're going to be in San Francisco next week. The Diamondbacks and Giants will be playing them.
Another good matchup. I think that NL West is going to be a dogfight. Obviously, the Dodgers are the toast, but there's a lot of talent and high-level aces that are going to be in that division.
It seemed like all the big pitchers were scooped up in the National League West, with Glasnow and Yamamoto ending up with the Dodgers. Blake Snell, the late signing with San Francisco, and Jordan Montgomery to the Diamondbacks. Smiley has the runner caught, throw to second base. It is in time as Polanco gets caught stealing on a Drew Smiley pickoff attempt.
Well, Drew Smiley did a good veteran move, just hanging up there and then waiting for Polanco to make the first move. But Michael Busch, that's a tough throw for the first baseman to be able to step up, take that throw, and make sure you get inside and get away from the runner's lane to allow Honer to be able to provide that nice tag.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Raleigh, who has struck out twice against Wicks, who lasted 4 innings, struck out 5 but walked 4, allowed 4 runs on 5 hits. And the Cubs offensively have been stymied by Bryce Miller tonight. Strikeout for Smiley ends the 5th. Still a 4-0 game in Seattle. Dodgers to win both Rookie of the Year and MVP in his career. And here's another, along with Don Newcomb. Cody Bellinger has been a Rookie of the Year and an MVP. Walked in the first inning tonight. He's 0 for 1, flied to center field in the 3rd. Bellinger certainly made a lot of friends in Chicago last year. He was warmly greeted back when Bellinger re-signed with the Cubs. And the Cubs home opener at Wrigley Field with the Cody chants. Bellinger getting a 3-year contract, but really it's kind of 3 one-year contracts for Bellinger, with the opt-out after each season. 2017 Rookie of the Year, the 2019 MVP, and we'll see what the Cubs make of it with those contracts that Bellinger has available to him for this year, next year, and the year after. There's also a prospect in the minor leagues ready for his call-up, or at least trying to get ready, and Pete Crow Armstrong, that could take over center field whenever the Cubs need him to.
They're very high on Crow Armstrong as well.
Soft liner caught by Crawford as Bellinger is retired.
But for me, you need a veteran and a guy that experiences Cody Bellinger. Obviously still an elite route runner defensively, but in that ballpark for him, his type of swing, he's a game changer with one swing, and you need that type of threat, and especially in the National League Central, where it feels like anybody can win that division. So the bottom line is you just need to get into the postseason, and with him in the middle of that lineup, it takes the pressure off the rest of them.
Well, just getting in is the name of the game right now, as we see it year in and year out. The Diamondbacks were that example last year. There are countless examples over the last number of years. There are teams that just get in regardless of what their regular season record looks like and do a lot of damage in the playoffs. It was the Phillies the year before. Christopher Morel can do some damage. He's behind here, though. No balls and 2 strikes. Cubs nearly got in last year with 83 wins. It was 84, the magic number in the National League. You see the Cubs prospects, a bunch that are on the precipice of being big leaguers, including Crow Armstrong. Matt Shaw opened some eyes at spring training for the Cubs.
It reminds me when I was a Cub, and Mark Pryor and Hesop Choi and guys like that were in AA and AAA and on their way up. The Cubs do an elite job of really gathering high-level talent, but I like that little hezzy move right there from Miller. Really feel good and strong about his mechanics.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Morel. Chopped to third as Urias has been solid around the bag. Morel bounces out, 2 up, 2 down. When you talk about Cubs prospects, you go back to a decade ago, right at about this time, 10 years ago, when they were starting to build what eventually became the championship team, and they were doing so with a lot of young players. Chris Bryant, who would come up in 2015, Javier Baez, who was soon in the major leagues, Wilson Contreras. They already had Rizzo after getting him in a trade, and the Cubs were building out their championship roster roughly 10 years ago at this time. As Jed Hoyer talks about the next great Cubs team, well, you have to think it will include some of the players on that prospect list you just saw. It will also likely include Dansby Swanson, who is 0 for 2 today. Miller just tagging that fastball tonight. He has had an excellent fastball.
He's just throwing the baseball with conviction, and obviously the lead helps, but this is what I mean about the mound presence. The hezzy, all of that is confidence. Spinning around, you know, he's throwing the baseball, he's having fun competing, and so that's when you're at your best, is when you're out there having fun competing, and you're competing with yourself as well as the opponent. But if your mechanics are in tune and you like the way the ball's coming out of your hands, I mean, it's all systems go from there.
Trying to put away Swanson. Count 2 balls and 2 strikes. 86 pitches for Miller. He's into the 6th inning. Trent Thornton is warming up in the Seattle bullpen, so Scott Service seeing the end is near for Bryce Miller tonight, as Swanson, check swing, fouled it off. There's Thornton seeing a lot of pitchers with glasses tonight.
Yeah, maybe I should have worn some. Maybe I would have still been in the league. Split finger backs up a little bit, ties Swanson up. You've been seeing fastball after fastball, and all of a sudden, split change runs into you.
Swanson with a little tapper toward third as Urias grabs it on the run, and it is in time to get Swanson at first. Bryce Miller retiring the side in order in the 6th. 6 shutout innings for the big Texan for Seattle, and getting some help on the defensive side here from Luis Urias to end the inning. Suit up this season at MLBshop.com. Check out the largest selection of official jerseys, caps, t-shirts, collectibles, and more. Gear up with your favorite team at MLBshop.com. There is the D-Train in a Team USA uniform alongside Ken Griffey Jr.
Seems surreal, you know what I mean? Be able to play with your legends, and you know, they loved giving me, even though I wasn't a rookie at the time, running around with Chipper Jones and guys like that. And they gave me a little quote-unquote rookie hazing, but I loved it all, man, to be able to play with guys that, you know, you look up to, and they respect and appreciate you, so I'll never forget those times.
Fly ball looping toward the left field line. Long run Swanson and Happ, and it's Ian Happ with a sliding catch.
Ooh, Dansby gave Happ a look like, I'm not going to be able to get there. That's your ball, and Happ made that catch and slide look very easy. Backhand. Dansby just a couple steps away, and great focus and ability. That ball was hitting no man's land. It was going to stay fair as well.
Well, Ian Happ has won a couple Gold Gloves out there in left field, and a good play there to retire Dylan Moore. Drew Smiley appreciated that.
Yeah, see, you can tell by the head look, Dansby like looking at Happ to see where he is on the field, and great hustle. And then, you know, when we talked about this earlier in the ball game, the Cubs have to play clean. They're too athletic, they're too talented, too many veterans out there. You do that and you help your pitchers, more often than not, you're going to give yourself a chance to win a lot of ball games.
This one popped up, should stay in play. Michael Busch down the line makes the catch. 2 up, 2 down for Drew Smiley here in the 6th inning. You know, Ian Happ's one of just a handful of Cubs outfielders to have won the Gold Glove. As another Gold Glove winner steps up to the plate, Jordan J.P. Crawford. You know, Ian Happ wears number 8, and a former Gold Glove winner and a Hall of Famer that wore that number for the Cubs. And of course, Andre Dawson. Crawford with a ground ball up the middle. It's Horner with a backhand pick. And an off-balance throw that is dropped by Michael Busch. That should have ended the inning as Horner made a great play, but Busch couldn't hang on to the baseball.
Just looked like Busch overextended himself. Great backhand by Nico. Put enough on the throw. And the throw just never got to Busch, and that's why he felt like he extended right at the right time.
Busch is given an error. They did give an assist to Horner for getting the ball there the way that he did, and plenty of time to beat Crawford. That error gives Julio Rodriguez a chance with 2 outs here in the 6th inning. Strike on the swing, according to Malachi Moore at first. Rodriguez had a 2-run single in the 4th inning. Opened the scoring a little bit more for Seattle. A 1-0 lead, some missed opportunities to do more damage, but Rodriguez with 2 outs punched a base hit to knock in Garver and Moore. Ty France followed that with an RBI base hit.
You know, there's timing mechanisms of when he needs to really engage, and so he's standing up more upright. He's squatting down, and so the earlier the better for him to be able to squat down and get into power position to be able to recognize what pitch he wants to attack. Gets down. See, he was more on time right there, so he put a better pass at it.
Pitching decisions presented by Sage against Julio Rodriguez.
Well, you know, you look at Wicks, and Wicks has done a good job of slowing him down with a changeup, but finally he squares that pitch up. He got a fastball elevated. It really just shortened the swing, and that's the type of a bat that can really get you going.
Swing and a miss. Rodriguez unable to make any contact there as Drew Smiley gets a strikeout. 2nd time Rodriguez has punched out tonight.
D-backs at Chase Field, 6-0 St. Louis until the 5th when Arizona put up a 6th spot, capped by an Eugenio Suarez 3-run shot, his 2nd of the year. Wayne and D-Train, back to you.
Never too early in the season for Cubs fans to be cheering against the Cardinals. St. Louis blew a 6-0 lead against the Diamondbacks.
Don't sleep on the snakes in the desert. You know what I mean? Coming
they can now.
Don't sleep on them, man. You know,
they woke everybody up last October. Diamondbacks made a lot of moves. They had a good offseason. They brought in the former Mariner, Eugenio Suarez, who you just saw as Busch swings and misses there. Of course, Jordan Montgomery part of that rotation now. So the Diamondbacks are headed in the right direction after their World Series appearance last year. And Eugenio Suarez's presence is missed here in Seattle, Heidi.
Yeah, I asked Scott Service about his presence being missed here, and obviously the team trying to cut down on strikeouts, and Gino was a guy who struck out a lot, but they said his leadership on the team, his leadership in the clubhouse, he said they haven't really gotten over that yet. He was just an even-keeled guy. He was calm in every situation. You didn't know if they were up 10 runs or down 10 runs, but he was that motivating influence on this clubhouse, and they haven't really had someone step up and fill that role just yet in the early going, guys.
Michael Busch takes ball 3.
Every team needs a guy like that. You know what I mean? Especially when times get tough. You know, you need that fun-loving guy to say, hey, man, is this another big league Wago? Let's go out there and have fun. And obviously he has the factor offensively and defensively, but some guys in this league you just can't replace. And so, you know, it might be a joint venture to go out there and, you know, change the tone of a locker room, but Suarez was a big part of their personality last year.
cut by Bush. He's really been the only Cub that's had solid contact against Bryce Miller tonight.
Talked about it earlier. This is about his approach to hitting. Very quiet at the plate. Has line-to-line power, and showing very early that he can shorten up his swing and make a pitcher work.
3-2 count. And Bush fouls off another. Interesting that Miller has gone back out for the 7th inning. He pitched 7 innings in his last start against the Brewers, all scoreless, and 6 scoreless against the Cubs so far tonight. Scott Service talks about wanting his pitchers to end on a positive note, especially this early in the season. He's giving Miller that chance here in the 7th. Swing and a miss. The fastball blown by Bush, and Miller finally conquers the one Cub that's hit him hard tonight.
Well, that looked like it was a little less velocity, but it had more movement running away from Bush. It almost looked like a two-seamer that took off. Well thrown, and you can see the side spin. It looked like a two-seamer. Got on side of that baseball, and the ball just took off.
It's outside.
Ball 1 to Nico Horner, who has a base hit, fly to right field as well. So Miller, 14 consecutive scoreless innings. Gave up a run in the 4th inning in his first outing of the year, but nothing through 7 against the Brewers, nothing through 6 1/3 tonight. Falls behind Horner 2-0. The bullpen is up for Seattle, so we'll see how much longer the Mariners go with Miller, who has thrown 98 pitches. Trent Thornton has been up for a while, and he's ready. Three balls, no strikes on Nico Horner. Doesn't draw a lot of walks. And Miller's starting to get into some deeper counts here late in the game.
Well, you see Scott Service is at the top step right now, and he's literally going pitch by pitch, batter by batter for Miller.
There's ball 4, and we'll see if that's it for Miller. Scott Service is making his way toward the mound, and that will likely be that for Bryce Miller, who was awfully sharp tonight at exactly 100 pitches in 6 1/3 innings. The crowd already revving up. Miller disappointed that he just walked Horner. And Bryce Miller gets a big applause here at T-Mobile Park for a job well done.
Thornton, one of the plus guys coming out of the bullpen for him.
Pretty good bullpen for Seattle. It ends with Andres Munoz. They added Ryan Stanek this year.
Really like that ad to really bridge to Munoz, because sometimes, last year, even though the starters were talented, that 7th, 8th inning roll was kind of tricky to get to Munoz, but one of the better closers in all of baseball when you get to him.
Miller looking on after 6 1/3 innings tonight. No runs so far charged to him. The Cubs got Horner around. That would go on Miller's ledger, but otherwise a pretty solid night. Not a ton of strikeouts, but just some good pitching for Bryce Miller in this one.
I mean, the 3 walks is a blemish only because it felt like he was overthrowing the baseball and his mechanics got out of whack. But other than that, he was outstanding.
Cubs haven't even had a man get to third base tonight. The only time they had a runner in scoring position was after Bush doubled with 2 outs in the 4th. That's been it for the Chicago offense.
Oh, I got mixed up with the movement.
It's off the foot of Tauchman, a foul ball. It's the 3rd time, at least if it stays this way, that a Mariners starter will have had a scoreless outing this season, and the 2nd for Bryce Miller. George Kirby had the other, and the Seattle rotation trying to build off what was a very good year for them last year, and continuing on with these young pitchers surrounding Luis Castillo.
Last year, 3rd in baseball and started rotation ERA, and they have a lot of talent.
And Thornton spikes a pickoff attempt, and Horner takes second base on an error. So that run would be charged to Miller if it's scored, and the Cubs trying to get on the board here.
Yeah, that's tricky too, especially with 1 out and 2 strikes. you're really just trying to check to see where his distance is on the lead, and spike a fastball down, and France just can't knock it down.
Tauchman continues to battle. No balls, 2 strikes on Tauchman, a Chicago area outfielder. He's from Palatine, Illinois. Tauchman is the DH tonight. Pretty good outfielder, though.
Still trying to find his rhythm and timing out at the plate, but defensively he can go get that baseball too.
Not really a prototypical DH. Cubs really don't have one. So you can make the argument that could be Morel, but they, as we mentioned earlier, want him stationed at third. Tauchman continues to see a lot of pitches from Thornton. 8 pitches so far in the at-bat.
But that's one, if Tauchman looks at the video, he knows he's got to put that ball in play. That's a hanging slider with a runner in scoring position. You got to hit that baseball with authority.
Oh, it's out.
That just missed. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Tauchman. Up. Urias chases coming in. A sliding catch. What a play by Luis Urias.
Luis has been all over the diamond, Wayne. He's been outstanding defensively tonight. What a route. Knew that ball was in foul territory, but in no man's land. Hustles over there. Big league baseball at its finest.
Now Yan Gomes, probably the most excited player on the field, to not have Bryce Miller out there. Miller whipped through Gomes on 6 pitches with 6 fastballs in his first 2 at-bats, although another swing and miss by Gomes against Trent Thornton. And yet another.
Yeah, he's getting it. Looking at the play again.
Bryce Miller appreciating the defensive support.
That's outside.
Gomes takes ball 1.
You go from seeing Bryce Miller's fastball at 96, 97, and now you're seeing Thornton's frisbee slider. So it's been hard on Yan Gomes, the veteran.
Two and two. Back to the top of the order. Ian Happ on deck. Cubs trying to mount a late comeback. They saw one go against them earlier in the week in San Diego. They had an 8-0 lead in a game that they lost against the Padres.
Yeah, well, that's another talented offense that can do that, especially their depth once in a while. And again, you talk about the bullpen. He didn't step up and seal those ball games. And if you look at a team that missed the playoffs by 1 game, you'll look back at those ball games saying, "Hey, we got to get that done."
Urias stabs another. France dropped the ball. The runner is safe at first, and a run scores.
It looked like some collision interference, though, by Yan Gomes as the throw was coming.
Ty France talking to the umpire right now, but as it stands, Gomes is aboard, and Nico Horner comes home. Yeah, you're right. Gomes brushed up against the mitt, and France just could not hang on to the ball.
Yeah, that throw took France into the line, and as he's trying to grip it down, all of a sudden Jan's going to hips brush against the glove, and all's fair.
Now Ian Happ is at the plate. They give the error to France, which allows Horner to score. It's an unearned run charge to Miller. Now Happ fouls one off, so the Cubs have some life. They're on the board for the first time. That one got a piece of Raleigh behind home plate.
Got to be an action junkie to be a catcher. That is a tough job.
Certainly need to have something wrong with you, I think.
Yeah, that is a tough job.
In the line of fire like that. It's 0-2 on Happ. Good pitch by Thornton to punch him out. So the Cubs get a gift run, an unearned run, and they're on the board, but the Mariners still have the lead. Welcome back to Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV Plus, presented by Chevrolet. We're at T-Mobile Park tonight in Seattle. The Mariners have been ahead most of the night. Bryce Miller with a well-pitched game, 6 1/3 innings, no earned runs allowed. Cubs got an unearned run in the top of the 7th to get closer, and now Keegan Thompson is on the mound for the Cubs. Basic Ty France leading off as he takes ball 1. Drew Smiley, a couple of solid innings of the Cubs bullpen behind Jordan Wicks tonight. Thompson was just called up today. Jose Cuas was sent to AAA Iowa. Cuas had a couple of tough ball games. He has allowed 8 runs in 6 innings to start the year. He was part of that mess in San Diego earlier in the week. So Thompson gets another chance with the big league team. Blows a fastball by France. Bouncer in the hole at short. Dansby Swanson backhand long throw for the out.
Nice play by Dansby, understanding who was running, especially how much time he had. Nice backhand and the easy throw across the diamond. This is sure-handed Wayne over there. You know what I mean? Not only does he play every day, but you trust him to make all the routine plays.
So 1 away. The batter is Haniger. Cubs were one of the best teams in the major leagues last year at turning ground balls into outs. So far this year they've been toward the bottom, but I feel like that will turn around for them at some point here as Haniger lifts a fly ball out to Suzuki, who makes the catch. The 2 up 2 down as Jorge Polanco will be the batter, and it is time for field levels. 1-2-3 inning for Keegan Thompson. He strikes out Jorge Polanco to end the 7th. Baseball. And sponsored in part by Capital One. Since establishing the Capital One walk-off program, Capital One has donated over $1 million to the Jackie Robinson Foundation in support of its programs. It's the 8th inning, and Andres Munoz is on the mound for Seattle. It's the middle of the Cubs order here. As Suzuki leads off, it looks like a strike on a blazer from Munoz. He's Seattle's best reliever. He's their highest leverage reliever. And sometimes Scott Service will use him in the 8th inning instead of the 9th if the lineup is turned the right way.
Rightfully so, because this guy's got dynamic stuff. I mean, the fastball can run anywhere from 97 to 100 miles an hour with sink and movement.
Gets ahead of Seiya Suzuki. No balls and 2 strikes. Suzuki has a base hit tonight. Cubs have only had 3 hits in this game, and Suzuki wipes out on the Munoz slider.
Check that ball, Wayne. That ball ain't supposed to move like that at 88 miles an hour. Nasty sweeping slider. Set Suzuki up with 2 sinkers, 97, 98 respectfully, and drops down to 88 miles an hour. No chance.
So 1 quick out for Munoz on a strikeout, and now it's Bellinger. He was 0 for 2 tonight with a walk. Morel behind him, then Swanson. As the Cubs, who have hit the ball extremely well to start the year, have been quieted by the Seattle staff tonight. Bellinger lifts a fly ball toward Dylan Moore near the left field line, and Munoz has 2 outs on 4 pitches. Let's take a look at Jackie Facts presented by Capital One. Jackie Robinson led Major League Baseball qualifiers with a .440 on base percentage in 1952. That is still the highest by a Dodger player in a single season since Jackie himself broke the color barrier in 1947 and Major League Baseball became integrated. As Morel takes a wild swing at that pitch. So we see the number 42, which was retired by the league throughout the league in 1997. On Monday, all the players will wear a 42 in tribute to Jackie. It was an idea that was first spawned by Ken Griffey Jr.
And rightfully so. I mean, Jackie was the perfect vessel to be able to take the responsibility of being able to have that role. It was bigger than baseball, and so it's not just baseball history. It's world history, you know. And a lot of the players we know and love right now, they wouldn't be here without Jackie.
Yeah, it really is. It's funny you mentioned that. It is sports history. It's baseball history. But it's American history. It's world history. What Jackie Robinson did in integrating Major League Baseball. Goes downstairs to Morel. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Morel's 0 for 3 tonight. Cubs only run scoring on an error in the 7th inning. Bryce Miller was excellent tonight, and Andres Munoz has gotten a couple of quick outs here in the 8th inning. Swing and a miss on another nasty slider. Andres Munoz whips through the middle of the Cubs order in the 8th. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Scott Service, one-time a Chicago Cubs catcher, now the manager of the Seattle Mariners. As Mitch Garver leads off the 8th inning and looks at a strike from Keegan Thompson. I was at Wrigley Field when Scott Service played his first Cubs game in June of 1995.
You know what? I want to see some young little minor league pitchers of young Wheezy and on the farm. We do a good job of getting pictures of old managers and in their heyday, and you know, talking about D-Train giving up grand slams and all that. I want to see a young Wayne Randazzo out there.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Garver. Got a few. I actually have a picture of when I was probably 16 with me and Pat Hughes and Ron Santo in the Cubs radio booth back then. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Garver. Now the Cubs actually got service and Luis Gonzalez from the Houston Astros. There's Pat for Rick Wilkins. So the Cubs fleeced the Astros in that trade.
Good fastball.
Strikes out. This catcher for catcher, and then Luis Gonzalez on top of it.
Nice.
The Cubs got 2 starting players out of that trade from Houston. Service was mostly with the Astros and the Cubs in his playing career. Ended up with the Angels as an assistant general manager, and that's how he got connected with Jerry Dipoto, although the 2 were teammates at one point as well with the Rockies. So Scott Service worked for Jerry Dipoto with the Angels and then came over with him when Jerry became the GM for the Mariners.
I mean, I think Scott Service does a great job of just being that calming presence, understanding people. I mean, he's done virtually, as you can see, every role in baseball, and so Jerry Dipoto's been around the game for a very long time. So it's it's deeper than X's and O's. It's also about relationships and trust. So Jerry feels like he has the right guy. They just got to get over the hump.
Jerry Dipoto has concocted this roster with nearly half the players acquired by trade. You can see all these trades that have resulted in these players. Now this is just the current roster. He's made all kinds of trades over the last decade as the Mariners GM. He is not afraid to wheel and deal, and often trading major league players for major league players. Think about Luke Raley, who was traded from Tampa Bay. Well, Jose Caballero was dealt to the Rays. He's having a nice start to the year. A lot of times these trades are prospects for major league players, but Jerry Dipoto will often trade straight up big league guy for big league guys. Keegan Thompson gets his 3rd straight strikeout, and Cal Raleigh is 0 for 4 with 4 punch-outs tonight.
Well, you know what? You have to do your due diligence and study the game, but you also have to go on your gut and how you want to shape the teams and what do you need to address. And getting Polanco when you look at a roster that has a lot of swing and miss, and hopefully he's able to really settle into his role and give quality at bats and what have you. And so I like this roster a lot, especially at the top of the rotation. They have some talent. Now they just have to play clean baseball and be able to score enough, especially in the American League West, to keep up with those other teams.
Well, 2 weeks in, and the American League West is searching for an identity. The Rangers won tonight. They beat Houston. And the Astros are 4-11 to start the year.
Not good. And what I say earlier, it starts and ends on the mound, and they've been struggling mightily on that mound.
Hit hard towards center. Bellinger got a good jump, and he's there to make the catch. Cubs bullpen has worked 4 scoreless innings. They've stayed close as we go to the 9th. Stole home 19 times during the regular season in his 10 major league years. I'm not even count the one in the World Series where Yogi Berra swears that he had Jackie Robinson tagged out. Jackie was called safe in that famous image that the Yankees and Dodgers had in the 1955 World Series. Jackie Robinson breaking for the plate, a straight steal of home. Yogi couldn't believe it.
Yogi, you might have gave up too much plate, Yogi. I love you. Might have gave up too much plate. Jackie got in there.
It was the Bums winning the World Series in 1955. The Brooklyn Dodgers' only championship before moving to Los Angeles. And they've won certainly a bunch since becoming the LA Dodgers. But as a Brooklyn Dodger team, that was the only one. Here's Ryan Stanek. That is a name that certainly rings to Cubs fans. And Ryan Stanek, as Swanson had a big cut, is named after Hall of Famer Ryne Sandberg. Even though Stanek's family, well, they're all Cardinal fans.
You don't say.
Somehow they named this kid Ryan, even though they rooted for the Cardinals. Make it make sense.
I can make it make sense. Ryan Sandberg's the GOAT. You know what I mean? So you can respectfully appreciate someone across the diamond, especially Midwest baseball. And I know there's a big rivalry between the Cardinals and the Cubs, but there's a respect there. There's a hidden respect there for each other's ball club.
Stanek is from St. Louis. He's trying to get a save against the Cubs tonight. Sometimes he'll bounce those pitches, though. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Swanson. He leads off here in the top of the 9th inning. The one thing with Stanek, he sometimes will lose sight of the strike zone. He has very good stuff. Hard fastball and then that splitter, and he's missing with that pitch as well. So now 3-2 after Stanek was ahead 0-2.
Yeah, the strike zone sometimes can get away from him as the count elongates, but last year 51 innings pitched, 51 Ks.
Swanson with a fly ball to shallow left center as Dylan Moore charges in. And there's one away. Major League Soccer reignites this weekend, starting tomorrow. LAFC visiting Portland. Then Lionel Messi and star-studded Miami duel Sporting KC at Arrowhead Stadium. You can see it all live with MLS Season Pass on the Apple TV app. Dansby Swanson's wife is a women's soccer star, Mallory Pugh. She plays for the Chicago Red Stars, and they're going to have a game at Wrigley Field later this year.
I was about to say, he's not even the best athlete in his house.
1 out, Michael Busch, the batter here in the 9th inning. As the Mariners look to lock down the opener of this series. These 2 teams will play again tomorrow night, and Shota Imanaga will start for the Cubs against Emerson Hancock. Imanaga's looked good so far in his first 2 big league starts.
Very impressed by Imanaga so far. I mean, the fastball, split finger combination, but really just the ability so far to throw strikes and miss bats. And with some of the injuries they've had in the rotation, he's really kind of had to step up and be that de facto ace thus far. He's going to be in the running for the National League Rookie of the Year for sure. As long as he stays healthy, I think he's going to have a big year for the Cubs.
Ball 3 from Stanek as the Mariners try to hold this lead for Bryce Miller, who is in line for his 2nd win. Miller was outstanding tonight. The Cubs offense has been cooled off by the Mariners pitching in this one. 3-2 now on Busch. Nico Horner on deck. Bottom part of the Cubs order here after Busch. Broken bat foul, at least on a check swing. Busch's bat seems intact. 3 balls and 2 strikes. This is where the Cubs were entering tonight. Hitting the ball hard, scoring a lot of runs, getting on base often. It's been a far cry from that, though, with the way that they have hit against the Mariners tonight.
Well, they're definitely going to have a test this series, especially going up against this talented Mariners rotation.
There's a long fly ball from Michael Busch, and the Cubs aren't done yet. A long home run to make it a 4-2 ball game.
But I tell you, Wayne, that young man can get his foot down, and he worked the count. He's been giving quality at bats all game long. This is his 2nd hard hit baseball, and Stanek kept challenging him with the fastball, and he could turn around that velocity. And so, if you're a Cubs fan, you have to be super excited for Michael Busch. Even though he made that error, he's still going to knock in more than he let in. I guarantee that.
So took the arrow away from him earlier. They gave Crawford an infield hit. Be that as it may, Busch has his 3rd home run, and he belted that one. 2nd straight game with a homer for Busch on this road trip for the Cubs. Now Nico Horner fouls off the first pitch from Stanek.
I mean, this is a no-doubter. He stood up on him, Weezy. Mitch Haniger gave a little courtesy jog, but he knew he had no chance to get that baseball.
Liner to left from Horner. Dylan Moore comes in. He makes the play. Now 2 away here in the top of the 9th. Crowd here at T-Mobile Park rises to its feet as the Mariners, who are off to a 5-8 start, are able to pull off a victory against the Blue Jays in the finale of their road trip on Wednesday. They have lost 6 of their last 8. A well-pitched ball game cures A lot of ails and a couple of big 2-out hits in the 4th inning, including one by that man right there. Mike Tauchman at the plate with 2 outs here in the top of the 9th. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Cubs would bring the tying run to the plate if Tauchman can reach. Yan Gomes is due up, but Garrett Cooper is in the on-deck circle. One ball, 2 strikes on Tauchman.
That's just a good fastball that's thrown with conviction. 98, 99 miles an hour off a slide step. That's his pure strength.
The Mariners trying to shrug off a slow start. Looking for back-to-back wins for just the 2nd time so far this year. Tauchman stays alive.
Nice little crowd tonight, Wayne.
A boisterous one here at T-Mobile Park.
Oh, it's down.
They were ready to roar, but that just missed the bottom of the zone. Stanek thought that should have been the end of the game.
How do you take that? Man. Even Julio said, wow.
2 balls, 2 strikes now on Tauchman. Soft bouncer. Polanco has it. The Seattle Mariners take game 1 of this series from the Chicago Cubs. Julio Rodriguez had the big hit, a 2-out, 2-run single in the 4th, and the Mariners win it 4-2.
Well, they needed their star to show up in a big way. And timely hits were key for this ball club to be able to win this type of contested ball game. But Bryce Miller, to me, was the star of the show. He was outstanding on the mound. He was efficient and really shut down this talented Cubs offense. So this is going to be a good test for more ball clubs early in the season. But again, pitching always shuts down good hitting, and that's what happened today for the Seattle Mariners.
A couple of playoff hopefuls, and the first of this 3-game series goes to the home team. As Bryce Miller goes 6 1/3, solid innings. Scott Servais gets a win against a team he once played for, as the Mariners beat the Cubs here tonight by a final score of 4-2. Jordan Wicks got himself into some trouble early on, couldn't pitch out of it in the 4th inning, and the Cubs offense couldn't make it out.
Too many walks for Wicks in the 4th. I mean, you're firm with fire as far as turning over the lineup that many times, and he just couldn't get out of it. He's usually able to make a big pitch, but really nice to see Julio Rodriguez get on top of a fastball. His timing has looked in between, but he looked finally comfortable late in the ball game, and they need knocks like that if they want to score.
They had that 2-run single tonight, and he's standing by with Heidi Watney.
Yeah, Julio, bases loaded in the 4th, and you come through line drive, right center field. Take me through that at-bat from your perspective.
I mean, I knew he had a good fastball, he had a good changeup too, but, you know, you can cover everything. So I just went with a fastball, try to drive it over the middle without trying to do too much. And I was able to come through for the team in that spot, and we're able to get this win right now. So I'm really happy about that.
Offense has been slow going for the team as a whole early this season. You guys broke out in the 10th inning in Toronto. You broke out here tonight against the Cubs. Is this what you guys need to get going?
I mean, definitely. I feel like as a team, we always need to put it together as a team. And I feel like the past 2 games, we have put a lot of good at-bats, and I feel like it's showing. And little by little, you know, it's a long marathon. It's not a sprint. A lot of people think of this as a sprint, and we take the long run. So we're ready to keep on building on it.
It is early in the season. Bryce Miller, though, has been locked in over his last 2 starts. It's got to be fun playing behind him, but keeping this hot Cubbies offense at bay. How good is he on the mound?
I mean, he's great. He's great. I feel like he's somebody that's always going about his business, and he always brings that energy that particular energy that he has. And I'm really happy that I can play center field for him every time he's on the mound.
All right, thank you, Julio. Nice job tonight.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
All right, Heidi, thank you very much. A 4-2 final at T-Mobile Park as the Mariners beat the Cubs here in Seattle. And Julio Rodriguez certainly in the middle of it with a 2-run single in the 4th inning, helping back Bryce Miller. We'll be back in just a moment to wrap things up from Seattle.